They did not chase you. You walked away, maybe after months of trying, maybe after one final moment that made something inside you go quiet. And they let you go. No call, no text, no last attempt to close the distance you had been building for longer than either of you admitted. And if you were honest, that silence hurt more than the relationship ever did. Because somewhere underneath the decision to leave, you expected resistance. You expected to matter enough to be fought for. And the fact that you were not has been sitting in the back of your mind ever since, asking a question you have not been able to answer. Why did they just let you go? The myth says they did not care, that the silence after you left was proof of indifference, that you were never as important to you as you thought, that the relationship meant more to you than it ever did to them. This is the story most people tell themselves. And it is wrong, not because they definitely cared, but because indifference is almost never what that silence actually is. The psychology of what happens inside someone's mind when a person they care about walks away is far more complicated than a simple absence of feeling. And understanding it will not just change how you read their silence, it will change how you read yourself. The first thing that happens when someone walks away is not grief. It is paralysis. Research on attachment and loss shows that when a significant relationship ends unexpectedly, even when the ending was predictable, even when both people saw it coming, the brain enters a state psychologists call defensive shutdown. The prefrontal cortex, which handles decision-making and social behavior, goes partially offline. The person who was left behind is not choosing silence. They are neurologically incapable of the coordinated emotional response that chasing someone requires. They cannot organize the words. They cannot override the shutdown. They stand there while you leave, not because you do not matter, but because their nervous system has just absorbed a blow it did not know how to prepare for even when it saw it coming. This is the first reason they did not chase you. And it is the one that most people never consider because it requires you to extend empathy to someone you have already decided to leave. But the mechanism is real. And if this makes you uncomfortable, that is because it should. Because it means the silence was not a verdict on your value. It was a system going offline. The second reason is more uncomfortable. Some people do not chase because they have been trained not to. Not by you specifically, by every relationship that came before you. There is a pattern that psychologists have documented extensively in people who present as emotionally unavailable. And I want to be precise here because most psychology content gets this wrong. It is not that they do not feel. It is that they have learned, through repeated early experiences, that expressing what they feel during moments of high emotional stakes leads to outcomes worse than silence. They reached out once before, in a different relationship, maybe in childhood, and what they got back was rejection, escalation, or humiliation. Their nervous system filed that response under permanent policy. When someone leaves, you do not chase, because chasing makes it worse. The silence you experienced was not emotional absence. It was a survival protocol running exactly as designed. But there is a third reason. And this is the one most people are not ready to hear. Some people did not chase you because they knew at a level deeper than conscious thought that chasing would not bring back what was already gone. Not you specifically, the version of their relationship that worked. And somewhere in the silence, in the moment you turned and walked away, they made a calculation your nervous system has been refusing to accept. That the thing worth fighting for had already ended before you left the room. That what remained was not a relationship worth saving. It was a habit worth breaking. This is the part that changes everything. Because if that third reason is true, and in many cases it is, then the silence was not abandonment. It was agreement. A quiet, painful mutual acknowledgement that you had both already been gone for longer than the official ending suggested. And the reason that hurts so much is not that they let you go. It is that they let you go without a fight. And part of you was hoping the fight would prove something the relationship had stopped proving a long time ago. This is what psychologists call confirmation hunger. The need for the other person's resistance to confirm your own value. When someone chases you, it means you mattered. When they do not, the brain interprets it as evidence that you did not. But that interpretation is wrong. Their stillness was never about your worth. It was about theirs. About what they had left to give, what they believed was salvageable, what their own nervous system was capable of in that moment. If you are watching this and still waiting for a chase that never came, I want to say something that most people will not say to you directly. Stop measuring your value by who came after you. The people who chase are not always the people who love more. Sometimes they are the people who fear more. Fear of being alone, fear of being wrong, fear of what your absence reveals about them. A person who lets you go quietly is not always someone who cared less. Sometimes they are someone who finally understood that holding on would cost you both more than letting go. And the silence you have been reading as rejection may have been the most honest thing they ever gave you. When you reach the point where you stop wanting to block someone, stop checking if they posted, stop hoping they noticed you moved on, that is not indifference. That is the next frequency. If this one reached you, stay tuned in.